Hey there YouTube, Bad Fat Panda here, and I have another commentary for you guys. This time it is a Starcraft 2 match, and I failed quite hard at splitting my probes there. Plobes. What am I? It's relatively late in the day, but I'm gonna go ahead and do that now, and I'm gonna keep it on actually my perspective for this game because this was not Jim's. I don't play Zerg. This is another match. I don't know which one I'm gonna post first. The TVP or the TVZ, and he's commenting on my complete failure. I did get a new keyboard, the Razer Black Widow. It is quite nice, but the spacing on the keys is quite different from my laptop mousepad. So he commented on that, and I replied. And yeah, so I'm obviously going to wall in against Zerg. It's something I like to do, not against Protoss if I'm going some thing that gives me some sort of units up early, but Zerg pretty much is a standard. You're gonna wall in. Very rarely do I not. It really just pays to wall off because of obviously Bling Bust, where SimCity is needed desperately, and even against slings, sling round buys can be quite devastating, especially if you're caught in with the pants down and your supply depot is lowered. Maybe as you were transferring units or something, and you get slings up in your base. It's not a fun time, as you obviously don't have the planetary fortress to defend in your main base. But this is going to be pretty typical of a playstyle that I like to do. I'm going to get that scout out early around 13 supply on 4-player maps, where it's obviously you don't necessarily know exactly where they are in the beginning. So 12 barracks, 14 barracks, so this is obviously a 2 racks build, except I like to do it as a transition into fast expansion. Obviously the standard Zerg opening in TVZ or ZVT is going to be the 14 hatch or 15 hatch, depending on whether they have their hatch or the pool first, but even sometimes they get the but I don't know if he knew that we were cross-spawn when the game started, if he had scouted me before that. This is probably why he decided to go hatch first, as I thought he went for hatch first from the timing when I scouted him, but the Overlord there I didn't quite pick it up on my mini-map. But obviously if you see me coming from that angle that late, it's probably going to be cross-spawn. And he did scout me at some point, but I was already walled off here. You can see his drone right there. And yeah, so obviously this is a gasless expansion. If you guys didn't know, you can't really get this out with gas. It just doesn't work with the minerals that you have. Usually around 23 supplies when you're going to be able to put the expansion up. What I like to do is I like to do a 5 marine push. So as soon as the 5th marine spawns, just put the tab down there, put the rally point down there, and move out. Try your damnedest to make sure that he isn't able to see it coming. Obviously he had the Overlord there. Obviously I saw that, but I didn't see this. I didn't quite pick up on that because I was simply looking at the mini-map. I didn't necessarily click down there. But yep, 23 supply. You see my command center going down, and as soon as that command center is going down, there are a couple things I'm gonna do. Double gas. Certainly, because whether you want to transition into Byah or mech, as there are actual viable transition opportunities into both from a build like this. I know OGS the SDC really likes to do a 1 racks expand versus Terran on pretty much any map, and the point that he made in a interview was that he by going double gas, obviously sooner than this, since you have a 1 racks FE, you can gather up minerals around 18 before your first supply depot actually get a command center down. If you go double gas the second you get your command center down, you will have enough gas to be on equal terms with a Terran going too early gas and producing siege tanks. So not only can you defend an early push, you have more mobility because of the bio troops, and obviously it serves you better late game. That is his point of view. I will leave it to him to decide those things, as I do not play Starcraft 2 near professional level. But here you see, this was a really bad point for me to engage. What I was trying to do by moving back was to eventually get behind here, because you want to limit this amount of surface area that Zerglings can get to you. Obviously, I really like to fight behind here, but the Spine Crawler made it a little bit difficult. Usually I like to go in a straight path here, except instead I had to move around, which really should have cost me as they got us around on me, and I didn't really do much damage. It would have been really nice if I could have saved those, but it's not really necessarily key to my build. But the reason that was so awesome was... Look, I mean, he had a Spine Crawler up. Did you see the amount of links he had? And he didn't even have drones on this base. So the second he saw the 2 racks, this build is largely intimidation. When you're a Zerg, you don't necessarily want to sack your Overlord at like 5 minutes or 6 minutes. You usually wait until around 7 or 8 minutes, and like maybe get some Zerglings to run up. Here you see I'm transitioning into 2 tech labs, and I have 1 eBay. Do I have the second one going down? Yeah. So this timing, as soon as I have enough, I'm going to want to get +1/+1 and stim pack and combat shields, because I'm going almost all Marines. Early game, transition a little bit into Marauders, depending on if he goes Roach, or it's usually Sling Bling Muta, and this is a build I really like against Sling Bling Muta. A lot of people, as Terran, think that they have to go mech because of the problems of Banelings, especially on creep. There are a lot of ways to counter that. And see, he's even getting another Spine Crawler. I mean, this is pretty much... he doesn't see this expansion. I think, in hindsight, he should have sacked an Overlord sooner. I think it was later in the game that I saw that. But obviously, now that I have the expansion up, I can mule off 1 base. I do want to get a couple of supply depots. I think I may even have to call down supply here, because I do want to do another push relatively soon. Actually, no. No, I probably just build another... build another depot somewhere, because the timing isn't necessarily right. As soon as stim finishes, the good thing about this is you get to get you get the double gas here, then your timing will pretty much be spot on with the engineering base finishing up 1/1, the stim pack, and then combat shields, and you're pretty much good to go. Just make sure you get the stim first, because combat shields does take slightly less time to complete. As you see all that production going up there, this is obviously the timing attack would be coming, and there a little bit of miss micro by me. I let that SCV die, which is sad, but his life did not go unavenged, as I will retaliate quite soon. But here you see I'm incorporating just a couple Marauders. I really like them to use as meat shields against Banelings, because they do take a fair amount of hits. I think it's actually 4 or 5 Baneling hits to take to kill a Marauder. But here you see, still researching the 1/1. I'm going to get a factory right before I push, and the armory that follows that is not only to get 2/2 as fast as you can, but in order to get the possible Thor, you can transition pretty easily into mech, especially if you get this command center down a little bit faster than I did. The reason I have it on 1 base is, as long as you're not fully saturated, it's really not hurting anything. Here you see I'm oversaturated because I have the SCVs going all over God's creation, but I'm probably going to pull and transfer a couple. May remember right when I push. There are a couple things I forget macro-oriented, but you see my money's pretty low. I'm not really complaining about that. Let's take a look at the income tab. Yeah, I am ahead. Oh no, I'm not. I am red, alas. As soon as I call on the mules again, though, I'll be ahead. He does have a slight harvester lead on me, despite the fact that he didn't produce that many drones early in the game. But I think that it's something that this push, yeah, there you go, see, transfer Marines. I'm on top of it. Let's actually get into what the hell I'm looking at again. Bam. Alright. I guess it won't go to my vision. Or I was looking over there at the time. These obviously A moved. Hey, I took out a guy. Took out an Overlord. But here you see how I have my control group set up. These are my Marines. Obviously I'm going to want to pull them back for the Banelings, and then further on, when you're on the creep, you're going to split. And here you see I scanned. When I scanned, I saw the layer just starting. The reason I decided to push now was not only because my upgrade's finished, but also because I wanted to push in before centrifugal flows. Because they are a pain in the ass to deal with. Banelings on creep are really, really difficult to engage with the Bioforce. And here you see I'm stimming, I'm pulling the Marines back, and because of that, he doesn't really have, like, it takes pretty much S-Class micro to be able to hit the Marines with the Banelings after you pull it back with that short of a notice. I just stimmed and ran back. So here, he has 2 Queens. Obviously, I know that he has something coming up there. He's pulling the Overlords. This is a pretty common trick to get your Marines to target fire the Overlords by, not necessarily by accident. but it's obviously on purpose, but they're trying to make a misfire on the overlords. Did want to focus down that hatchery. I didn't care if my units died. Taking down at least one hatchery is definitely a good deal. Usually around the push, you do it at 10 minutes, 11 minutes. It's around that time that the Zerg generally likes to take a third. So it would be nice to see if I were to scan or stim a Marine up there to check see if he got a third, rather than finding out halfway through the match when his queen came down from where his third would obviously be. Here you see immediately I'm putting out a command center. Obviously, if the push is going to be successful, then sure as hell I'm going to do everything I can to increase my advantage. And you see here now the income tab, I am very ahead right now. Even in the harvester count, I was able to get a couple drones there. And if we look at production, he's obviously researching melee, which is definitely good. You want those ups on your Zerglings if they're going to do any damage. The +1 armor really negates the Zergling damage, and the Spire is just going up now. And the reason I got the factory out, and you see the armor here, +1, but I also have missile turrets in the meantime, just in case he wants to counter with Zergs, in case the attack doesn't go all too well. The bunkers around here will keep you safe from Baneling busts. You can put future barracks in between those to make you extra defended and then salvage them when you run out. But here you see again, I'm pushing out, and I'm just going to go ahead and try and get this expansion. But there's a fair amount of units here, but look at this. This would not have been possible with 1-1. You see how little health I had left on some of those guys? They would have probably all been dead, and I wouldn't have been able to get this expansion. I do believe I killed it actually too. 8 PM right now is... Yeah, I am not, there we go, migrating a little bit, but pretty much just a move and then go back to your base, macro-ish a couple of things, and then come back. So you can definitely use your mini-map to your advantage right here, but look at the income tab again. I have 15 harvester lead almost, and have a fair amount of income on him too. I don't know if he's gotten his second, yeah, so he does have his natural hatch coming out. Again, he has some workers on there, and I just want to go ahead and push in just a tiny bit. Maybe go around here, but he does attack me again and gets us around, and there's pretty much not much I can do. But in the meantime, here we go, medvac production off of the reactor starport, putting down a couple more barracks, Your money's really high, put down a couple more barracks. No? Alright, maybe I do it a little bit later. But, come on, SCB, LSCB, you can do it, But yeah, I'm going to take gold. I'm going to go ahead and take gold, putting some missile turrets up there. I have seen some Muta. Oh, here we go. I drop in here. I tried to do a stim drop in here. Let's actually go back and take a look at that. Yeah. Alright, where would we find the stim drop? Let's go back to here-ish. Take a look at the minimap now. I know later I do a two-pronged attack, but this is really something that Zerg players do a lot, is abuse the mobility of their forces. Obviously, if you're a Terran going mech against a Zerg, you're going to have really not much room to... you're not going to have much room to... be very mobile against your opponent. You're going to have to do a slow controlled push, maybe put missile turrets bunkers while you're pushing, get the siege tanks sieged, unsiege them, move up a tiny bit. You guys know the process. But the mobility of Byah is something that if you're going to go with a Byah build, you have to drop harass. You have to make it known that you are a presence. Otherwise, he's just going to get mutas, and he's going to get even more mutas, and he's going to get fucking, who knows, brute lords, and the game's going to be over. So here you see I loaded up a couple marauders into the 2 racks. I'm just going to go straight for the fucking hatch. He obviously did see me coming, so he did have enough Zerglings. And Zerglings, believe it or not, are the counter to marauders, because the fire rate on the marauders is obviously slow, and they don't do quite as much DPS as the Marines. So here he has a new production eggs spawning, and I go from attacking these. I should have really picked those up. Earlier you saw me pick up some of the low health units, marauders, and then put them back down again. It's just little things like that that they can save you units that would be quite good. So here I think, alright, there we go. Finally, now that the battle is over, I'm putting the medvacs back and getting some more medvacs. Obviously putting down some more barracks. I had a ton of money. I really should have put down some more. I think you even see me building another command center in the future. But see, his income is still strained. His harvester count dropped a little bit more from that last attack, so it's definitely, I'm forcing him to keep building attacking units to defend against my drops instead of producing drones. So now he has 3 bases, but he really only has 34 workers to spread between them, and that's on gas too, which Zerg should be pretty. Yeah, I mean, he's relatively gas starved now. He is producing the mutas. He has double Evo chambers up, pretty common, and now he's even putting a spine crawler down there. So he still is producing defensive structures, getting this third hatch down. I just wanted to keep these guys here as long as I could. The creep was a little bit limited, especially since the hatch died. So I just wanted to see when he put down another hatch. Obviously I could see that as, I think I may have moved them up too a little bit. Yeah, you see, I saw that the third hatch was going down. And so that's pretty much when I want to do another attack. So here he attacked with mutas. No, maybe not. Alright, maybe a little bit. But you see my money is still a little bit high. But my income is double his. I mean, it's getting to the point where it's ridiculous. And that's just the pressure, the constant pressure. You see I sacked this command center. And I think I start that up soon again, but yeah, I also dropped this drop. I was planning to drop into his base and then use the forces at my main to, actually, let's look, there we go, alright. So I have 2 dropships coming around here. I was a little bit indecisive about it with the muta harass, but I figured that I had turrets, and but getting a little bit, yeah, getting some more turrets around there just to make sure that I'm defended. And here come the mutas to try and defend, but I'm just going to go ahead and snipe. I knew this was in the red. If his queen didn't transfuse it, it was GG. So that obviously, taking down the layer is going to destroy some of his dreams of teching up even more. And anytime you can get a layer snipe, it's good pickings. So here obviously I can afford to stem a couple times as the medvacs have nearly full energy. And now I'm going in here and just cleaning up. I don't even bother about the spine crawlers now. I'm just trying to avoid them a little bit. But in the meantime, I have a planetary fortress on here. Only need the 1 gas. Have 4 people mining there currently. Sad face. But you saw that while I was dropping with the forces up here, I was also taking a ground army around here to snipe the hatchery in his natural expansion. And here, pretty much, he's starved. I mean, he has pretty much nothing left, and there's the GG. So that's pretty much just a little explanation of what you can do. Just upgrades really count, guys. Upgraded mutas, you guys know, just rape face, and upgraded marines, pretty much same deal. If you can micro them against the banelings, or you can stop him from getting banelings by starving him of gas and production, then you pretty much have the upper hand. You can take it any way you want to. But mobility is really something you have to never undervalue as Terran. Despite the fact that the medvacs were slowed, sad face, and mutas are still as fast as they are. But I think the game's relatively balanced on its own. So here you see me transferring even more workers. But I mean, if we look at the end, 62 harvesters to 43, and that was just because of the constant harass. And that is how you play Byah. So yeah, obviously my macro slipped a little bit during this, but you can see the economic advantage that I had by constantly engaging him on my terms. So that's pretty much it. If you guys liked it, click the like button, and I'll talk to you later. Peace.